We bring you a special report on the devastating floods that have recently impacted Southeast Asia, focusing on the harrowing events in Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia. This report covers the most significant, high-impact flooding events in recent history.
Dây điện. Ôi giờ cái tường bay rồi, cái mái nhà trước mặt cũng bay rồi. Sập luôn, bóng sau luôn. Từ điện không có điện là phải luôn. Không có điện ở nhà, cái này cái mái nhà ngô đất xuống rồi.
Vietnam has recently experienced one of its most powerful and destructive storms in decades, particularly with Typhoon Yagi in September 2024. Classified by the government as the strongest storm on land in 70 years, Yagi made landfall in northern Vietnam, slamming coastal regions like Quang Ninh and Hai Phong with wind speeds exceeding 213 km/h. The subsequent flooding and landslides were catastrophic, affecting at least 26 provinces and cities, nearly half the country. The human toll was severe. Official reports counted at least 320 deaths and 25 people missing, with nearly 2,000 injuries. The scale of structural damage was immense. Over 283,000 houses were damaged or lost their roofs, and more than 122,000 houses were flooded. Critical infrastructure also sustained severe hits, including damage to thousands of schools and hundreds of healthcare facilities. This crippled essential services, leading to widespread power and water supply disruptions. The agricultural heartland was ravaged, severely impacting food security. The disaster resulted in the loss or damage of hundreds of thousands of hectares of rice fields and crops, and the perishing of millions of livestock and poultry. The estimated property damage reached an astounding 84.5 trillion Vietnamese dong, over $3.3 billion USD, making it one of the costliest in the country's history. Despite the devastation, significant preemptive measures by the government saved countless lives, including the safe evacuation of over 1 million people from coastal areas before the typhoon hit. The swift mobilization of military forces and the delivery of international aid have been crucial in the massive ongoing recovery and reconstruction effort, a testament to national resilience in the face of climate change's intensifying threat. Thailand has also been heavily affected by increasingly intense weather patterns, with devastating floods hitting its southern provinces in late 2025. Fueled by intense monsoon rains and successive storms, the disaster was particularly acute in the far south, with provinces like Songkhla, Nakhon Si Thammarat, and Narathiwat bearing the brunt of the deluge. The human cost was tragically high. In the affected regions, the death toll soared, with at least 162 people killed across 8 provinces, making it one of the worst floods in a decade for the southern region. The hardest hit area was Songkhla province, which alone recorded over 100 fatalities as floodwaters receded to reveal widespread damage, particularly in the city of Hat Yai. The scale of the crisis was enormous, affecting more than 1.4 million households, equating to over 3.8 million people. Water levels in some areas, such as Songkhla, reached up to 3 meters high. This necessitated massive search and rescue and evacuation operations, leaving thousands stranded and causing immense damage to homes and personal property. Beyond the immediate crisis, the floods caused significant economic disruption. The agricultural sector, a cornerstone of the Thai economy, suffered substantial losses, with hundreds of thousands of rai, a unit of area of crops, particularly rice, corn, and sugarcane, damaged. The total economic loss from similar flood events in the year was estimated to be in the tens of billions of Thai baht. The repeated flooding underscores Thailand's high vulnerability to climate change, with forecasts indicating that the number of people affected by extreme river floods could grow significantly in the coming decade. The country is now focusing on strengthening its early warning systems and flood-prone infrastructure to better cope with these recurrent, devastating events.
Tadi mobil satu. Iya, sampai seatap rumah. Tengok. Mari lagi.
Ada yang Hanom aja ya. Gede. Hanom. Kau ambil megom, yang megom dari. Yang kedai polis.
Indonesia, as an archipelagic nation, faces a dual threat of coastal and inland flooding, often exacerbated by landslides. Two recent, significant events highlight this vulnerability. First, the devastating 2020 New Year's Day floods in Greater Jakarta and surrounding areas, West Java and Banten. Torrential rains, the worst in over a decade for the capital, killed more than 60 people and displaced approximately 175,000 people. The sheer volume of rain, caused by a convergence of wind patterns, overwhelmed the already sinking capital city of Jakarta, which faces chronic land subsidence issues due to excessive groundwater extraction. Second, a more recent catastrophic event occurred in West Sumatra in May 2024, triggered by intense monsoon rainfall and the destructive force of a lahar, a wet, volcanic mudflow from Mount Merapi. This combination resulted in lethal flash floods and landslides, claiming at least 67 lives with dozens more missing. Hundreds of homes, bridges, and major roads were damaged or swept away, cutting off access to remote villages. Across the country, the pattern is consistent. Intense, unpredictable rainfall triggers disasters, particularly on densely populated islands like Sumatra and Java. In March 2024, another round of flooding and landslides in Sumatra affected around 40,000 families, including over 15,000 children, reinforcing Indonesia's status as a nation highly vulnerable to climate hazards. The repeated tragedies serve as a stark reminder of the need for improved disaster mitigation, reforestation to stabilize slopes, and addressing the underlying issue of climate change, which makes extreme weather events more frequent and severe in this vital region of the world. The scale of devastation across Southeast Asia is profound. The latest figures confirm a combined regional death toll that has tragically climbed past 500, with hundreds more still missing, a staggering human cost driven by relentless monsoon rains and intensified tropical systems. In Indonesia's Sumatra provinces, where landslides and flash floods have claimed over 350 lives, rescue teams are still struggling to reach remote, cut-off communities. The immediate focus remains on humanitarian aid and finding survivors. Meanwhile, Thailand is beginning a massive cleanup, particularly in the southern region of Songkhla and the paralyzed city of Hat Yai, where waters rose up to 3 meters, leaving at least 162 dead and affecting over 1 million households. And in Vietnam, Consecutive typhoons have left nearly 100 dead and caused an estimated $3.2 billion in economic losses, highlighting the immense vulnerability of its central coast and agricultural sectors. These disasters are more than just seasonal flooding. They serve as a chilling confirmation of the region's increasing vulnerability to climate extremes. The monumental task of rebuilding shattered lives and infrastructure now begins, demanding sustained national commitment and coordinated international support to build a more resilient future against a changing climate. We will continue to track the recovery and relief efforts in Hanoi, Bangkok, and Jakarta. Thank you for watching.